Time for another Huskers edition right here, the voice of college football, everyone. Pull up a chair. Leave those comments and questions there in the live chat. We talk Nebraska football with you every Tuesday night. It's at 7 o'clock Eastern time. It's at 6 o'clock their Central time. And I'm hearing, let's get rid of that. Okay. A lot of people don't want to hear me once, let alone twice. Okay. There we go. So I don't know if you could you hear me twice?
No, sounds great here.
Okay. All right. I was getting a little feedback from the other window there.
Mm-hmm.
We are good to go now. Greg Peterson, Husker Online, joining us as always. He makes this thing go. Greg, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, we're hanging in there.
Well, just here in the last hour or so, couple hours.
Breaking news.
So Utah offensive lineman Tyler Kanak, he received some offers from Kentucky, Buffalo, and App State. He played some guard there at Utah. Then he switched over to offensive tackle last year, and he's now a Nebraska Cornhusker.
Yeah, that's a pretty big get, I would say. A guy that's already had some experience, and he's going to come in here as a tackle. 6'6", 320-pound athlete that you think, he can come in here and, be one of these replacements in here when, Bryce Benhart, a guy like that might be moving around a little bit. And, it adds depth to the room, which that we've always, lately when we've been asking Coach Rule about what, if he likes his depth there, he always just kind of says he likes the guys he's got. But, that was a really good get for him to add another body in there that can go in there and compete right away. So good job for Nebraska on that front. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Guys like Ramir Johnson and Gabe Irvin, Jeff Sims, of course, yep. They have no issue with bringing in more guys to block up front, especially when they've done it for a Pac-12 championship caliber team.
Yeah, and, that line was pretty beat up, too, most of the year last year. And, when you're getting back to Teddy Prohaska and Nuri Newellen as well. So, you're adding a lot more bodies in there that have starting experience. And I think that takes the pressure off of a guy like I mentioned earlier with Bryce Benhart that was kind of under fire from his play last year. So I think this is really it's a nice shot in the arm to the talent pool there. And they've had some new guys even in spring ball. I mean, they had some guys that looked really good. So some of the younger guys like Gunnar Gatula, the true freshman from Lincoln Southeast, had a really good spring camp and spring game. So, yeah, there's a lot. It's looking up on that offensive line. Surely after this commitment from Tyler Knack.
All right, let's move to the quarterback position here with Daniel Kalin. He made his commitment just a few days ago as well for 2024. Bellevue West quarterback, right?
Yeah, we talked about him last week about what Nebraska does next, right? After, after the Raiola commitment to Georgia. But obviously, I said that was one of the three moves that Nebraska had to make, and surely enough, I'd actually gotten a text from my boss. He's like, "We're waiting for Daniel Kalin to flip any time now." I'm like, "Oh, that's good to know." So yeah, he'd formally commit to Missouri because Nebraska had been so hard on Dylan Raiola, and so he looked at his other options and he picked Missouri, but obviously Nebraska had never stopped recruiting him, which they're not going to do with any with anybody that they've recruited that decides to go elsewhere, they're always going to leave those doors open. And so, Daniel Kalin was kind of a no-brainer anyway, because he's always wanted to play here. His head coach at Bellevue West, Mike Huffman, is a huge Huskers fan, and is one of the best high school head coaches that has knowledge of recruiting that you're going to find out there in the entire country. So, Daniel Kalin, he first got offered by Florida State between his freshman and his sophomore year. He was down at a camp at Florida State, and they liked what they saw so much that they went ahead and threw out an offer. And then obviously Nebraska countered with an offer. And his sophomore year at Bellevue West, he wasn't even the starter because they had just come off a state championship, and their starting quarterback was returning for his senior season. So Daniel didn't get much playing time. He split some time here and there. Got a couple, 2 or 3 series a game. But then obviously last year in his junior season, he took over as the man and really had a really, really good season, and is a legit 4-star quarterback prospect. And, there you go. You get your quarterback for this class. And, he's still got a year to play here that will obviously be in a lot of his games here this season. Not like we're not usually at Bellevue West games. We are. So, so Nebraska fills that quarterback spot need without having to do a whole lot of pound in the dirt for what was left in the top 50. The options were getting pretty slim there.
Yeah, Greg, since you know the high school landscape there at Nebraska, I was just kind of curious looking at these games, who were some of the better teams they played. So look at this lineup of CP, Omaha North, Burke.
That's Creighton Prep.
Creighton Prep. Okay. Creighton, of course. Creighton, Nebraska. Okay. Omaha North, Burke, OWHS. Omaha West?
Omaha West Side. They were the state champions. Yes.
Okay. 25 for 46, 394, 3 touchdowns, a couple picks in that game. Kearney, I've heard you talk about them. Omaha South, Gretna. Anybody else on this list that
it's
is a big team?
Oh, it's a loaded schedule. Yeah. No, Creighton Prep, they had a rough start to their season, but that was a top 5 team coming in and finishing. Produced a Nebraska commit for this class, and then Omaha North, Larry Martin's squad is always a tough team, and they've had a few rough years lately, but they've won 4 or 5 state titles here in the last 15 or so years, and they're usually a powerhouse, and they came on later in the season too. But those are 2 playoff teams right there. Omaha Burke, always a really, really tough program as well. They were a playoff team. They were a low-seeded playoff team as well. We talked about Omaha West Side right there. They're the 2-time defending state champs now. Producing Nebraska commits as well. And Kearney was another playoff team. They're farther out west, but they've got a really solid program year in and year out. Omaha South is kind of a cupcake there. Gretna was the state runner-up, and they actually won the state title against West Side the previous season, but it was stripped from them because they had an ineligible player that it was found out after the season was over. So yeah, those are the top 2 teams in the state right there. And then Bellevue East, that's a complete cupcake. Papillion La Vista South, another bottom feeder. And actually, they did make the playoffs as the final seed. And you can see that they took care of them twice there. And then again, Gretna was the one that knocked them out. And like I said, they were the state runner up. So yeah, that's a pretty loaded schedule, and that's pretty much par for the course for Bellevue West because they are a top 3 team year in and year out in the state.
How many levels of football are there? Do they have different divisions?
Class A, B, C, D1, and D2. So you got 8-man and you got 8-man and you got 6-man in D1 and D2, respectively. But Class A is the cream of the crop.
All right, folks, appreciate you being here. We got Ted here, Jose, of course, Moonbot's here, Alan, got Baden, who says here, do we have an idea of exactly what style of offense Nebraska will run? Spread, pro style? Just curious.
Well, we've covered this quite often, with what Matt Rule likes to do, and he likes to run the ball, and he likes to throw the ball in kind of a 50-50 type of mix, and that's why he goes after very fast guys on the outside, and but he's going to establish a run game. He believes that the game is won in the trenches, and it's kind of old school, but they're going to have the athletes at the skill positions on the outside they're going to be outrunning the other guys on the other side. So it's going to be, it's going to be a mix of both, but it's going to be a run heavy. And this is the kind of style that Matt Rule has proven that he can win at Temple and at Baylor.
Well, Greg, next time you're in a room with Matt Rule, Jose wants you to suggest that he gives the fullback a neck roll.
You know what? I love that idea. We talked about last week that Nebraska got a transfer from Notre Dame, a tight end from Notre Dame that's going to play fullback here. And then Janarian Bonner was one of the stars of the spring game at the fullback position. So that is definitely going to be a part of the offense. I mean, it's not going to be always real prevalent that it's a fullback, but there is going to be a fullback in the offense. And that has a lot of the hometown crowd excited for what they're going to see out there. So we'll see how it all comes together in fall camp and how much the fullback is incorporated into the offense. But, as much as I've talked with Matt Rule, I trust in what he believes is going to work. And it's a little mix of the old school Nebraska and a mix of Matt Rule. So it should be pretty cool.
Folks, we dropped the link in the chat, and I know you're not accustomed to this, but we've got the line there wide open. You can jump on in and you can talk to Greg and myself, whatever comments you got, whatever topics you want to bring up, whatever questions you have for us. So you just grab that link that's there in the chat section there. We use this all the time, and with call-in shows and so forth over on the main channel. So folks love it. It sounds better than the phone lines, and so we just use it. You can shut your camera off if you don't want to be seen. No issue there. Just shut off your camera, but we've left the link there in the chat. I'm going through the comments that have come into the channel over this week. This is off the beaten path, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway because I see a comment that came in this week about it. AAU membership. Nebraska was at one point, and it's my understanding no longer an AAU member. Do you hear anything about that being something that they're trying to get back, or does it matter?
I really don't. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I was just curious, and a couple people had asked about that because the Big Ten usually makes kind of a big deal about that.
I'm honestly, I wasn't even aware, so I'm not the right person to ask. Obviously, sorry about that.
No worries. Yeah, I'm just scanning here. We've got 2 acquisitions this week. So quarterback Daniel Kalin, we talked about that, and the offensive lineman from Utah. This just came in the last hour. Alan's going to check in with us here. Alan, what's going on tonight?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. In fact, I'll be in Lincoln here shortly.
You told me.
Yeah. Hope to see you. My question is the backup quarterback situation. It seems like they ran out half the quarterbacks out of town, so we're down to 3. Are they looking for anyone else to fill that 4 spot, or are they just going to run with 3?
You know what? I mean, right now it looks like it's going to be a 3-horse race, and that you did lose a lot of those guys, but I think you just got to go with what you have, and obviously, Sims is the guy coming out in front right now, and Harburg's looked amazing, and Casey Thompson as well. So, hopefully you don't have to go deeper in that. And as with the offensive line, the changes, and getting some guys back, and the scheme that they're going to be using is going to help out the quarterbacks. Their durability, obviously, because last year it was actually a war between Mark Whipple and Mickey Joseph about what to call. Mickey wanted to throw the ball. Whipple wanted to throw the ball. Mickey wanted to run the ball. And so the offensive line never really had a chance there, and the quarterback never had a chance. So I think, you got a good 3 guys right there, and then, what's left behind them, from what I saw in spring, those guys looked okay too. So I think they're going to go with what they have. I don't see any other additions from the transfer portal to help out there with the depth, but we'll have to see. And you never know. I mean, the door's still open. For a Logan Smothers to come back. And I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I said Casey Thompson. I meant Chubba Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just wait a minute now. No, Casey's gone. But no, and Chubba, those 3 guys looked really good in spring ball. So, and you never know. I mean, maybe even a Casey Thompson returns too. We never know. You never know what's going to happen. So I think they're good with what they have.
Okay. Great show, Mark. Have a great time. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by, Alan. Came across this story a couple of days ago. I don't know if you've looked into this at all or how much is being talked about it there, but I see where Nebraska football to host transfer portal camp for postgraduates this summer.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. My biggest question is if they're going to say it's open to the public or not. So that would mean we'd get a go. But, Matt Rule said that he wants to run the best camps out there, for the in-state guys and the out-state guys. So they're going to jump on every chance they can get to host kids from around the country and show them what they're going to do. And we're going to travel down to Texas here, the first week of June there, because they're doing a couple of the satellite camps down there. And so myself and Sean and Steve Sipple will be down there at both of those satellite camps, and ride up in there with the coaches and, see them in action with the kids. And yeah, it should be pretty good. So they're getting it rolling, and obviously trying to get as many kids in here and see what Nebraska is all about.
The article I'm looking at here says Nebraska, which will host its postgraduate camp June 13th, one of the first Power 5 schools to introduce this type of event. Others include Cal and Colorado. I would have never guessed Cal, just because I never think of Cal Berkeley as being at the forefront of anything related to football necessarily. But
I covered. They hosted an Elite 11 one year, and they hosted a Nike camp back in the day for recruiting. So I was at both of those. But no, I mean, this is cool. It's a camp for guys that have 1 year of eligibility left, pretty much.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, very. I know one thing I did forget to mention with Tyler Knack, transferring from Utah, that he's got 4 years of eligibility. So that's a guy that you can have as a 4-year guy. So that's another good thing about that commitment.
I don't have any idea where they stand in the scholarship numbers. Has that been talked about, or
they were right there? As of last week, last time when we talked with Matt Rule after that Lincoln Chamber of Commerce speech that he did, but they were right there at the number, and they have a few spots to play around with where they're going to be right there at it. So if that means a couple guys leave, and that's since obviously they just added one, so but they're right there at it. It's not going to be a problem.
Folks, I just posted a quarterback rankings in the Big Ten. You can check that out and give it a look in terms of where we ranked Jeff Sims. I'll drop that link in the chat. You can tell me if I'm crazy or anything else there. Any ideas where you would rank Jeff Sims among Big Ten quarterbacks?
Oh, obviously it's pure speculation, but I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'd have to rank him around 5 or 6, maybe.
Okay. Folks in the chat, where would you rank Jeff Sims among Big Ten quarterbacks?
With room to improve?
Sure. Absolutely. So I'm going to drop.
I mean, I think he has the potential to be maybe a top 3 or 4 guy, just from what he did at Georgia Tech, and based on what we saw in the spring. So I know this: Matt Rule trusts in him and really likes him. So that's a win.
Fongway is looking for a prediction on starting 5 offensive linemen. Do you think that's pretty well set, or do you think there's a lot of battles going on up front?
Yeah,
this August.
No, I think it'll be Teddy Prohaska, Turner Corcoran, Ben Scott, Bryce Benhart, and Nuri Newellen. That's your starting 5.
So our buddy John's making a comment here. One Scoop John, Michigan fan. Nebraska needs to get good so we can settle the 1997 national championship once and for all. And by the way, we're going to settle the Clemson-Ohio State 2019 college football playoff game. We're going to do that at 8:30. We're going to have a little watch party, and that's going to be for YouTube members and for our Patreon members, because copyright issues with watching the game. So if you want to check that out, and a ton of other things that we're going to tee up, including Ohio State, Michigan 2016, big controversial finish there. And John's got a good one right there. We can add that to Great Debate Month at the Voice of College Football and do a Nebraska, Michigan. We should pull that together. I think that's a good one. So be looking out for when we will go to a battle on that one. We'll simulcast that one, Nebraska and Michigan channels, and we'll size up the two teams.
Two good teams.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong. You really can't settle the score on that one.
Two great years, two good teams. Yep.
The last truly split national championship, although USC had a sheriff one with LSU in 2003.
The good old days.
Never mind me. That was just a kind of a cliche thrown out there. Settling the score once and for all. No, we will not settle the score. The score will still not be settled. We could argue for 5 consecutive days, but
History will not change.
It'll be fun doing it. Alan says 1995, 1995. I don't know what he's going with 1995, just another national championship season. Yes. All right, folks, we have left the link in the chat. If anybody wants to jump on, talk Nebraska football with us, we've gone over the 2 player acquisitions this week. Ethan asks if Nebraska is going to go to the transfer portal for a defensive tackle.
That's a good question, and it just kind of depends on who's out there and if they're a fit. It's always going to come down to that. And honestly, this time of the year, there's not a lot out there in the transfer portal.
True.
Honestly, it's full of it's full of guys that have basically been asked to leave. That were told that they got a better opportunity elsewhere, or they're guys that are in it for the NIL and they're looking for the big payday, and they weren't getting it at their former school. So that makes up a huge chunk of that transfer portal right now. And Nebraska got lucky on one with Tyler Knack here today. So that's good. That's a really good get. That's why that's such a good looking get for Nebraska right now out of the transfer portal. So it's slim pickings right now.
I'm looking at the On3 lineup of the best transfer portal players for this offseason, and get this, to Greg's point right here, out of the top 100, 99 are gone.
Yeah.
Zachary Franklin's a really good wide receiver out of Texas San Antonio, and he's a wide receiver. So you're talking about defensive tackle. He's a wide receiver. Zachary Franklin, Texas San Antonio, caught about 90 passes the last 2 years. He's out there. I'm going down the line. My goodness, I'm 140 deep, 150 deep. Still only one guy, and the other guys are all committed. I had to go to 158 to find the next guy. And he's out of Liberty, and he's a running back.
Yeah, see, I mean,
there's not much out there.
No. I mean, you're pretty much concentrating on recruiting for this recruiting cycle with the high school ranks and the JUCO ranks, and you're pretty much going to go with the guys you got right now. You don't have a lot of choices there, but next time one of them shows up in the transfer portal, I'm sure they're going to take a look at him.
Here you go, Ethan. For the record, here's your guy, Jeffrey Clark. He is the top rated, according to On3, the top rated defensive lineman left in the portal. It's out of Georgia Southern. It's out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Plays at Georgia Southern. Best defensive lineman. And he's the 173rd ranked player. And it looks like he's headed to App State.
Beautiful there, though.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful place. Yes.
Yes. Top 200 players. Still 3 out of 250. Yeah. Not many players out there.
Yeah.
My alter ego wants to know, is Eric Crouch the best Heisman Trophy winner of all time?
No.
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 With all due respect, no.
He's the best one that ever came out of Millard North High School in Omaha.
Fong Wei, Greg, will the Memorial Stadium crowd go bananas if they see an awesome pass rush? How do you think the pass rush potential is shaping up?
Oh, yeah, they would go nuts. I mean, the place would get back to some of those days where you couldn't even talk to the person next to you. It was so loud. Yeah, no, I think they have some dudes that can get after it. You know, a lot of new faces, but MJ Sherman's a guy that I think could turn into a guy that really terrorizes the quarterback this season. And you know, we'll see how it all changes here in fall camp, and you know, with the incoming freshmen that haven't had a chance either. But you know, you got some guys like Chief Borders that already participated in the spring that really looked good. And I think with you know, the scheme that they're going to do with Coach White's defense and Pot Roast there as the defensive line coach, that I think you are going to see a balanced defense that they play instinctively. They don't think about things. So they're playing freely and they're going to the ball. And I think it's going to benefit the pass rush big time. And you're just going to see, you know, a defense, like I said, that doesn't hesitate. They're going to react. And, you know, it should be a big difference this season. So I'm excited to see what it looks like when the season starts.
Okay, folks. It's been a good time with everyone. If you have anything else, please leave it in their chat, or certainly you can jump on board with us. But if you're just jumping on here online, we've been at it for about 33 minutes. You can catch what you missed. The video automatically posts. Otherwise, we will see all of you real soon, meaning next Tuesday at 7 Eastern and 6 Central. Anything we missed, Greg?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm sure there's always things we missed.
Do they have any camps coming up in the next few weeks?
Oh, like I said here, I think we're going to be down in Houston.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Here, I think it's June 3rd we go down there. I'd have to look at the airline ticket information, but those will be the immediate ones that we're going to be attending. But you know, here in state, there's an event coming up here that's going to be a quarterback camp at Bellevue West High School that we talked about. You know, Daniel Kalin is from, and it's going to have 3 of the top quarterbacks that have come out of the state lately. Zane Flores, who's an Oklahoma State commit signee. from Gretna from last season, and Cole Payton, who plays for South Dakota State Bison, and oh gosh, what's the other one? Missing it off the top. Oh no. Who was it? I don't know. But there's three of these guys that are all D1 guys that are going to be at this camp, and it's that should be pretty cool. I think that's coming up here. I think next week. I'll have to check my info on that, but that is something that's coming up here. And then Nebraska will be doing their camps here later in June, and they'll hold their individual workouts as well, and so a lot of that going on. And then we'll find, there'll be some other regional camps and stuff that will pop up, and so it's just starting to get rolling. I mean, state track just ended here this past weekend, so now you kind of you have all the high school guys transitioning into graduation, and then start of summer, and so then all the summer conditioning will start, and then the camps that they all hold around the state here.
Cornhusker Corner says, Greg, when you come to Houston, you got to eat at House of Pies. It's diner food, but that place is fire.
Heard of that place? Yeah. Yeah, it's always been intriguing. I've always kind of wanted to go. I've been to Houston many times, so I'm no stranger. I'm no stranger to anywhere in Texas. I love Texas.
Drizzle Stick 1. Greg, anything jump out at you from the state track meet regarding Husker recruits?
I personally did not attend, but Carter Nelson, I know, looked awesome. Who is, probably the biggest fish in the state here coming out, and we talked a little bit about him last week. That after Dylan Raiola committed to Georgia, that Carter Nelson also has an offer from Georgia, but Nebraska's been after him, and he is just one of the most amazing athletes at his size that you'll ever see, and very coveted top 100 type national recruit in the country. So he obviously stuck out, and it was kind of a funny story that he lives, his high school is a good 6 hours away from Lincoln. And so one of my colleagues from KETV 7 had texted me on Thursday saying, "Hey, I'm going to shoot Carter Nelson doing the high jump, the high jump." And he's like, "Can you send some of your video that you got from him last year to Ellie sometime today in the studio?" And I'm like, "I don't have any, man." He's like, "I thought you did one of his games." I'm like, "Nope." It's just a long haul. I mean, he's closer to Denver than he is to Lincoln. So that's good. One of those type guys. But no, we're definitely going to go see him this year. I think they play in Burwell, if I'm not mistaken, which is like an hour or just a half hour north of Kearney. So that's doable. That's only about 2-hour drive. So I will see him this season, but he's a heck of an athlete.
All right, folks, appreciate you being here. On your way out, please hit the like button and also subscribe if you have yet to do that here at the Voice of College Football. Catch Greg's work at Husker Online right here on YouTube. There you see it as well, huskeronline.com. All right, Greg, you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Sounds good. We'll see you later.